So Soto, you just finished the Forspoken demo. First
hmm
thoughts. What are your first thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I feel like it's getting some hate, or I don't know. I think I've read some hate for it. The story is kind of like whatever. Like and of course it doesn't go into it. The demo gives you like a brief kind of summary of like how she got there. But basically, the main character is like spirited away from New York and is now in this like fantasy land, and she has powers. Um, and she also has like this talking like bracelet now, like that gives her powers and stuff. So right off the bat, you hear the premise and you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be annoying. And the banter between them because it's like all open world and stuff, and you're kind of going around different spots, but the banter between them, if you don't set it to like low in the settings, it just is so monotonous and so like snarky and just kind of dumb. But with that being said, like there were parts that I thought were really cool. Like I really think that the design is really cool of like the character, and she has like different capes that like she can equip and stuff, and it looks like gorgeous. And I only played it like on the performance mode for the demo, which puts it at 60 FPS, and it looked great. Um, but there was even little things too, like where apparently like you can paint her nails a certain way, and like they will give her like augments to her powers. I didn't get into that, but I had never seen that before, like in an
No, so
RPG.
yeah,
So I was kind of like, that's kind of cool.
they didn't really get much into that because it says nail
No, they
polish
didn't.
unlocks special abilities, so you don't know what those special
Yes.
abilities are.
No, no. I mean, they were already like pre-equipped. I mean, you have a lot of the skills already unlocked, and it is a basic like magic tree and skill tree, like that kind of thing, where it's like you build up mana points, which are your experience, and then you use them to unlock like the new skills and whatnot. And so that was cool. I think that for me, what was annoying at the very beginning, and for you when you play this, it's like I didn't understand that I could switch back and forth between these two powers. Now, it's the demo and it's not done yet, so these powers were called like literally like purple magic and red magic. And they seem to be connected to like, because like the overall antagonists of the game, from what I can gather, are these like crazy looking sorceresses or whatever and shit like that. And like they have like really cool like makeup or masks on and stuff, and it looked like one of the powers was like connected to the main character and the other power is connected to somebody else's. That was very confusing, but I did not know how to switch back and forth. And the annoying thing about that is that as you're fighting in the open field and she does magic parkour, you have to be able to switch between magic styles as they're appropriate to the enemies that you're fighting, because like certain enemies are weak to this versus that, right? And then there's like a wheel that you pull up using like R1 where you can like switch between support like magic and like attack magic like in combat. It was kind of like clunky, but like I had no idea that you could do that. I thought it was automatically doing it on its own, switching between the two like things for the first like I don't know 20-25 minutes. So maybe that because I'm just dumb, I just didn't understand that. But otherwise, it was super like chill, really cool fighting. The camera was kind of shitty. I had to change it a little bit in the settings because it was way too close to the main character, especially when you're like surrounded by a bunch of different things and like you're jumping around and doing magic parkour, and there's all these artifacts on the screen and shit like that. So, but once I fixed that and I tweaked the like trigger like sensitivity too, it was much smoother and I enjoyed it. It took me forever to figure out, by the way, that you have a grappling hook as square because the game does not tell you that. And I'm trying to climb these things that like clearly are sticking out of the rock face, and I have no idea how to do anything with them. And then eventually I find out that like if you hit square, like it will like slow down the screen and let you shoot a grappling hook directly to these things. And yeah, again, I felt pretty dumb, but once I got like to know some of the stuff, it was fun. I'm sure the story hopefully gets better than the premise because it does look like it's kind of like intrigue and shit like that, and the graphics are actually not that bad, but um, yeah, it was kind of fun.
So let me ask you, because seeing some previews of this before the demo came out, and I think what the world is called Athia or something like that. But
Yes.
tell me about the scenery. It looks amazing graphically, as far as at least what we've seen beforehand. But how did it look in the demo? Like, how great is this open world?
I it looked great. I was surprised. I think a lot of the previews I'd seen had been 30 FPS, and I was like, okay, this doesn't look that great. But I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was. I mean, everything was crisp. It was beautiful. I think that just the open world looks pretty empty. And I don't know if that's just an act of whatever, but it had, like floating cliffs and shit like that, and there were obviously places to take pictures and things like that. So I thought it was gorgeous. The game looked a lot better than I thought it was going to, and from the presentation, even in the menus, like they have a certain flair, they have a certain style. Um, I think this is going to be a flawed game, but I do think that this is a game that I'll eventually want to play for sure.
Is this a day one purchase for you, or is this like $20? What are you thinking?
In my mind, a game should be $50. That is like the starting point, 50, $60, right? And that's it. So if I'm going to buy day one a game, it's going to be 50 or 60. And in that context, thinking about Forspoken, it's not a day one purchase for me. Um, Not a lot of games really are, anyways. But that's not a day one purchase. I wouldn't pay full price for it, but I definitely would consider if it was down into like if it was on sale, down to like maybe 30, 35. I would definitely consider picking this up because I do see that there are some cool things in this game. It looks like it's gonna have a cool like single player like storyline. It'll probably have stupid ass shit added onto it, like most open world games do, to just pad out the fucking time. I think that's gonna be this game's biggest problem. But I really did like the ideas and the stories, and it's a good fantasy setting, and it looks really good too. So, but for me, probably 35 bucks is where I would consider picking up this game.
That ain't too bad. Coming
Yeah,
from you, I that's actually
yeah.
pretty good. But any
Once I got
final?
used to it, you know what I mean? Like once I got used to it, once I got over my own stupidity of learning the controls, because it kind of just throws you in. Like I was like, okay, I'm having a good time, and I was like, okay, like where's the story going? And then there is no story, but they had some little clips and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's intriguing. So without any lore or anything like that, it was a pretty good time.
Sweet. All right. Well, we know Forspoken comes out on January 24th. That's a month away, right after Christmas. So don't
Yeah,
know how long it'll be until it gets to $35 for you, but should be
July,
interesting how well this game does.
July, September, something like that. We'll see.